Hey guys, this is Estee Panda, and today I'm just bringing y'all another foundation review and demo. I got this foundation about 3 days ago when I last uploaded my last video. However, I didn't get around to doing a review for it just because I have school at 7:30 in the morning, which means I have to get up like at 4:45 if I want to do hair, makeup, look cute, and I typically do. So I don't get around to filming on those days just because I get out at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So by the time I get home, it's like 7, and it's just like, I can't do a review because there's no way I'm going to sleep at 3 in the morning because by then I'm totally exhausted. So it's finally Friday and I'm able to do this review. And this review is on the Nars All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. This just came out and I believe that it's only available online on the narscosmetics.com website, or you can go to Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom online. Sephora doesn't offer it online yet, but if you look to see where you can find it in stores, I did find mine in a JCPenney Sephora, and I had to ask them and they had to go to the back and find it, or behind the counter or something. And then at another location, because my boyfriend got the foundation as well, he opened the little drawer underneath like all the display and it was down there. And so I got the Nars foundation and I was really excited about this foundation because first of all, they claim that one pump is enough to cover your whole face. I will tell y'all ahead of time that I found, because I don't have perfect skin, it did take me about 2 pumps per side of face to get a full coverage type look to my face. I will say that they claim it's full coverage. It is full coverage if you build it up. However, for the most part, it's definitely medium coverage off of just one pump on each side of your face. Unless you have perfect skin, you are gonna need more than one pump. I will say though that one pump is the equivalent to a quarter pump of a normal foundation. So you're not wasting as much product as it sounds. When I'm saying 4 pumps, y'all are probably imagining all this foundation going to waste, but no guys, it's actually to cover my whole face. I probably use the same amount I would use from any other foundation, but just because I do have acne scars, I do have blemishes. Talking about the coverage, it does say that layers on full. So if you layer it on, you will get full coverage, and that's completely true. So just kidding about full coverage, they're definitely being honest in their disclaimer. If you look at their banner on their website, it says that it is a natural coverage without masking the skin, and I 100% agree with that. It looks like my skin, but better. It doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look like I layered layers of foundation on top of my skin to where I look cakey. I don't think this foundation can look cakey. It looks super natural, feel weightless. It doesn't feel like I have anything on my face. It doesn't feel tight. It doesn't feel like I have anything on my face, and that's amazing for a full coverage foundation, because when I put my ultimate coverage foundation from Becca, my Estee Lauder, and these are full coverage foundations, they feel full. They feel very full, and I feel like I'm wearing 10 pounds of foundation on my face. That being said, let's go ahead and just go into the demo, and I'm just gonna insert it right here. I'm gonna take my Nars foundation, and I'm in the shade Medium 1 Punjab, and I'm gonna shake it up. The website claims that one pump covers your whole face, but because I have a lot of acne scarring, and I wouldn't say that this gives you full coverage, I'm gonna go ahead and work it in on one side of my face with my fingers. And I've tried this before, guys. I've used this foundation about 3 times this week. And I'm just going ahead and patting it in. Okay guys, so that was one application on my face, and I used half of the pump that I have on my hand, and honestly it's a tiny pump, and then I rubbed it in to warm it up, and then I applied it to half of my face, and honestly I won't say that it's full coverage. It's definitely medium coverage compared to some of my other full coverage foundations. I mean, this side you can see all my blemishes, the redness. I have this random dark spot, I don't know. I have some acne spots. My forehead's kind of clear, so on my forehead it definitely covered everything up except this red spot right here. JK, I hadn't put any foundation on that, but it's covered up. My forehead looks amazing. My cheeks though, because I do have acne right now, not a lot, but you can still see 2 or 3 of the red spots peeking through the foundation. But it did even out my skin tone everywhere else. Again, just from one application, one pump, it did not give me full coverage. I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest of this that's on my hand and put it on the same side of my face to see if it'll cover it up more. Okay guys, so I used one whole pump on this side of my face, and that definitely hid all of my imperfections for the most part. I can still see some of my dark spots peeking through, but for the most part it covered everything up. Some of these spots definitely need some concealer in order to cover up, but everything else, all my redness, all my blemishes got covered up as opposed to this side. So now on the other side, I'm gonna go ahead and use a beauty blender, and again I'm shaking it up, pumping it on my face, and it has a liquidy consistency, so it's definitely water-based. I believe. I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure. I'm making this up as I go. Just kidding. And I'm just gonna put it on my beauty blender and kind of dab it on my face. Okay guys, I did this side with the beauty blender, and I will say that for the most part it covered everything else. It evened out my skin tone, but it didn't hide all of my imperfections. But again, with the beauty blender, it does tend to sheer out foundation just a little bit because it does absorb somewhat of the product. But I will say that I do prefer the way the beauty blender blends it into my skin as opposed to just my fingers. However, with my fingers, after using a whole pump, it did give me more full coverage than the actual beauty blender. So I'm gonna go ahead and use another pump on this side of my face. Okay guys, so now that I've built up the coverage on this side of using the beauty blender as opposed to my fingers that I used on this side, they do match up in coverage. This side definitely covered up, but I will say that with the beauty blender, I feel like it melted more into my skin and it looks more like skin. However, my finger sides, that being said, the side that I used with my fingers to blend into my skin also looks like skin, but I just feel like this has a better blending quality into my face. But again, that's just something that the beauty blender does. But I do like the way this foundation looks on my face. It doesn't look matte, it doesn't have a satin finish. It's a very natural skin-like feeling. This foundation gives my skin a skin-like look to it, so it's very natural. Honestly, if I was being really lazy, I could probably walk out like this, no eyebrows, no mascara, nothing, because it looks like my skin but better. That being said, I'm gonna take half a squirt, and I'm gonna use this half squirt just to use it as spot concealing. When I spot conceal using this foundation, you definitely see that it is a lot of pigment in that tiny pump because it does perfectly conceal my imperfections, and honestly it acts almost as concealer when I use it as spot. That being said, I'm just gonna take my beauty blender and use it on the side that I use my fingers just to even it out with the other side in terms of texture. And that should do the trick. So now that I finished applying this to my face, I'm gonna go ahead and do a flash test for you. And I'm doing this because this is much requested. I will say that it didn't give me a white cast to my skin. It definitely looks like my skin. So this would probably be great for flash photography. So I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup. Hey guys, so I just finished putting on my foundation and the rest of my makeup on. And I will say that after I put on the foundation, I did have to set it with a setting powder or some sort of powder. And I used my Maybelline Matte and Poreless powder just to set it underneath my eyes and on my T-zone, just because it did have a sticky kind of feeling. So you definitely have to set this foundation. This foundation is not a foundation that you could just wear by itself. And Nars does recommend that you use their new Soft Velvet Loose Powder, I believe, but I haven't purchased it yet just because I haven't seen it in stores, and when I asked for it, they don't have it in stock. And it's just one of those products that I would prefer to buy from Sephora just because I got my VIB points. Yeah, guys, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take a break for another 2 hours or whatever, so I'll check back in with y'all later. It's now 2:52 and I'll be back in about 2 or 3 hours. So yeah, guys, stay tuned. Hey guys, so it's now 5:48. It's been about 3 hours since I initially put on the foundation, and so far it's holding up great. I will say that on my T-zone, it's starting to look slightly luminous, almost dewy. It doesn't feel greasy, but I feel like it could get that way if I don't touch up. And this probably has to do with the fact that I did use the Maybelline Matte and Poreless as a powder on top of this, just because it's not 100% oil controlling, and because I have oily skin and this foundation isn't meant to control oil, I should have used something that's a little more oil controlling to kind of help balance out my skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a powder brush and use my Amazonian Clay setting powder, because if you can tell, I mean right here, just ignore my highlight, but around my nose right here, it is starting to get a little shiny, but honestly I don't think it's anything that my powder can't fix. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go in and slightly dab it on my T-zone. So now that I've powdered my nose and my T-zone, it definitely feels 100% better. My skin looks way better, my foundation looks amazing, and I don't seem to have any type of problems anymore. I would like to add that I might have been shiny just because I've been sitting in front of these bright lights for a while. I was editing, etc., and they do get hot. Again, it looks amazing. My eyebrows are still in place, my slight contour is still there, nothing has faded, the pigment is still there. So yeah, guys, I'll check back in with y'all in another couple of hours, so stay tuned, guys. Hey guys, so it's now 12:25 in the evening, in the morning. It's past midnight, but after 10 hours of wear, the foundation is still on my face. I still have coverage. However, I will say that some of my spots are starting to peek through. The foundation has definitely gotten oily around my T-zone. I have touched up once before when I updated with y'all, and then once when I was at the mall. It doesn't look horrible, but it is starting to feel a little gross on my face. I honestly feel like if I powdered my T-zone, I would probably be just fine. I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now, just to show y'all that, you know, if I were to powder, it would look perfectly fine. Now that I've powdered my T-zone, it looks perfectly fine. I could probably go another 1 or 2 hours wearing it. I won't though, but it looks perfectly okay. I will say that the foundation is starting to break down around my nose and a little bit on my cheeks right here, but it's not too bad. It's not super noticeable. But other than that, it looks perfectly great. Again, some of my spots are coming through. That being said, this is a great foundation. It does live up to most of its claims. It does claim that it is full coverage once you layer it. That's 100% true. I completely agree. I think that you definitely have to use more than one pump to get a full coverage unless you have perfectly good skin. If you have acne scarring, it will take around 2.5 pumps for you to get full coverage all around and for you to be able to hide all your scars. I think that if you have dry skin, you probably do need to moisturize in order to put this foundation. It won't cling to your dry spots, but I will say that you probably do need to moisturize. If you have combo skin, you can probably get away with using this foundation and getting it to last 16 hours. If you have oily skin, I do recommend it to you because I personally have oily skin and I've been using this all this week since I got this foundation and it has done wonders for me. I will say that if I don't touch up though, it does get nasty. So if you do have oily skin, definitely set it. Definitely use an oil control primer, an oil control moisturizer if you can, and definitely set it and keep touching up every 2-3 hours, maybe even 4. This is just a great foundation, guys, and the fact that it's so full coverage and so light is just amazing. I will say that applying this foundation, I did prefer applying it with a beauty blender. I just think it gives the best coverage and the best look to the foundation as opposed to blending in with your fingers. You can get away with blending it in with your fingers if you have perfect skin, but I prefer using the beauty blender. In terms of longevity, this foundation claims that it lasts up to 16 hours. I will say that if you don't have oily skin, you probably can get away with wearing it 16 hours. I've been wearing it for 10. I have super oily skin, and I will say that I could probably wear it for 12 hours straight if I kept blotting or touching up with powder. However, for the most part, it's more of a 8 to 10 hour foundation, not 16, but most foundations are like that. Recently, I tried the Rimmel 24-hour foundation, and I'm gonna be doing a review on that soon. It claims it's 25 hours, I think, and it lasted like 12, and I felt gross. So most foundations claim to be 25 hours, 16, but most of the case, that's not the case. However, this foundation does last up to 10 hours, and I think that's amazing for a Nars foundation. Their Sheer Matte and Sheer Glow lasted on me about 6 to 7 hours, so this is incredible. I definitely recommend it to all of y'all for all types of skin types, and this foundation runs for $48. Honestly, guys, that's all I have to say about this foundation. If you like this video, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you watched this video all the way to the end, make sure to let me know what your favorite type of pizza is down below. Also, make sure to let me know what your favorite primer is this season and what products you're most excited about this season. Also, if you want to see more videos from me personally, make sure to subscribe to my channel. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. DGAT Panda out. Look, obsessed, guys, obsessed. If I could choose a mascara to use for the rest of my life, I would use this. But only if I have this. So technically I'm lying, because I'm gonna need this too. So like, if they come in a bundle, this is all I need for the rest of my life.